Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting, head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. Got another crazy one for you today, and this actually happened in Australia. And there's some weird stuff going on about these cases. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But first, like I always told you in the past, that I want to make sure that I have a quote ready for you guys at the beginning of every single episode. And these are quotes that I actually came up with myself from here. Okay, my mind's open, so the words should start flowing in, and it comes from the heart. But anyway. But the first thing I want to do, like I said, is I want to read you a quote. And this quote that I came up with myself, which I am quite proud of, as all the others as well. But this quote, as it says, whether you know your true destiny or not, the path you take will always lead you back to it, even if you deviate from it. Drink that in, folks. Letting you know that no matter what you do in your life, if your destiny is set already, even if you don't know what that destiny is, you are still going to get there no matter what the obstacle. You could end up doing something stupid for you to end up in jail. But always remember that no matter what you do, if your destiny is set, it will always play out no matter what. Okay? Think about it. Alright, guys. This morning's episode is going to be about hikers found after overnight ordeal. Search for missing camper in Wawrziark continues. Now, Wawrziark National Park is actually in Australia. And that my number one fan lives in Australia. And I told her about it. And she said that a lot of the people who disappear over there, they never, ever talk about it. Cops don't want to talk about it. The coroner's office don't want to talk about it. It's like I said in all of my other videos, like when David Paulides talks about, he always had this hard time with the FBI or the Park Service or even the Freedom of Information Act. Okay? Every single time one of these cases pops up, and I'm talking about the really weird motherfucking cases, like people just seem to go poof and they're just gone, and nobody can figure out where they went. It's like they just vanish off the face of the earth. Okay? Those are the cases that they don't even want to touch. They don't want to talk about it. If you come up there asking about it, the cops will actually practically curse you out, telling you to mind your business. And I'm like, what? We're talking about a person that disappeared. They have a family. They deserve to know something. Why you got to shut a person down just because they want to talk about it? So that means you don't even want the family to know about what happened. That's what I'm thinking. Why would you shut someone up that's trying to find out about it and tell them to, mind your business? I'm like, what? Because David Paulides always talked about how they don't have the manpower to search for someone if they go missing in one of these national parks. But here's my thing, folks. Just because you don't have enough manpower doesn't mean that you still can't do it. Yeah, they're going to be working their ass off between walking their beat or patrolling the streets, in the city that they work in, and you're going to be doing that. What's wrong with it? That is a meaningful cause, searching for someone that went missing. Okay? Yeah, there's a lot of craziness that surrounds it, like, okay, you see their footprints on the ground, and all of a sudden they just stop dead right there, and then nothing. Same thing happened to a young boy named Mackenzie. Can't remember his first name. But he also disappeared in Australia. And I already talked about this before, on one of my last episodes. One of my recent, I won't say recent, but previous episodes. They was climbing up the side of this rock, like a rocky, almost like a ledge or the side of a mountain, and there was a waterfall right next to him. They said that they don't know what happened, but he just was gone. So when they went up there and they investigated the area, they saw his footprints. They said his footprints, when it got to a certain point on that level, it almost looked like he was being lifted up into the air. Because you know how, like, say if you stand on your tippy toes in some sand, what do you see? Just the front end of your feet imprinted into the sand. And that's what it looked like with him and his footprints. I think that boy was no more than 12 years old. I think it was about 12 years old. So he was young. He wasn't even a teenager yet. And the boy got taken. Now, could you say by the dark ones, the ones that I mentioned before, could you say it was a portal that opened up above his head and whatever powered it sucked him right into it, and he was just gone? I mean, I'm just saying. What else can you say when it comes to these kind of cases? You can't say anything but that, because that's what the evidence entails. If a child looks like it's being lifted off, see, this is the part that's the crazy part. You hear about all these cases where they have CSI out there looking at all the evidence, picking up hair samples if you see someone on the ground, just picking up anything that may remotely be close to solving the case of a person that was murdered. That's what they do. Okay, so when you out there looking for somebody, they're gone. The evidence is not the same when it comes to someone that was murdered. You don't get the same kind of evidence. That's obvious, right? So the evidence level changes. Your game has to change. The way you do things have to change. The way you look at things has to change, because you're not going to find that in these cases when someone disappears. Now, you may think it was a serial killer who probably chopped you up into a million tiny little pieces when you threw your body into a wood chipper. That's a good way to get rid of a person, even a child. But there's always going to be evidence left behind. We're talking about something going into a wood chipper where you come out looking like chunks of dog food and mush and blood and all that other good stuff. Well, of course, that's not good stuff, but I'm just saying. I'm trying to make a point here. What I'm saying is, it's going to cause a mess. Even if they got that big bin that they shoot it into, it's going to splatter. And you may not think that it's going to splatter outward. Like, say, you think it's going to splatter all over that thing that they shoot it into. No. If it splatters, it's going to get on everything. It's going to be on the grass. It's going to be in the dirt. And you probably don't even think about that. You probably just know it's going to go in there. So that means you ain't got to worry about cleaning nothing up. Wrong. It doesn't work like that. Okay? So you will see different kinds of evidence when it comes to people disappearing. And you got to look at all that. You got to look at the footprints. You got to look at anything that makes sense when it comes to a person disappearing, even a child. But none of this stuff makes any sense whatsoever, because it's a part of the unknown. If you don't understand it, you're not going to know what it is. But if you look at the area and look at how it's set up, you got a boy walking up the side of a mountain with a waterfall right next to it. Okay? All of a sudden, all you see is the front end of that boy's feet from his shoes. That's all you see. And what does that tell you? That he was lifted up, right? I mean, it's common sense. But here is where it gets crazy. Where did he go? He got lifted up. What happened? What took him? What could have lifted him up like that? Could it have been someone that saw him on the mountain and they thought he was going to get hurt and they picked him up, like, say, by his armpits? I mean, straight up in the air and said, "Come on here, you come on with me. You don't need to be up here anyway." Put him on his shoulder and he carried him back down to the floor. That's a logical way of looking at it. But if they haven't found any evidence to state that that was what happened, if that did happen, that means he'd still be alive, right? Or he'd still be with his family. But no, he's not with his family. He's somewhere else. He's in another dimension. He's on another planet somewhere. He's on another parallel Earth. Now, I can't say that somebody controlled it on the other end and just opened it up right over his head. I can't do that, because as humans, we don't know that. We don't know what controls these things other than the government. That's the first thing that we would think of. But No, they ain't doing it. Because first of all, I don't want to get too much into this, but they are, if they are doing something, they messing with the wrong stuff because they don't really know how it works. Okay, they think they do, or at least they let you know, or they tell you that they do, but they really don't. Trust me. Can't trust them. Anyway, first of all, I'm just letting you know right now that this guy that I'm going to talk about, the weird stuff that happens in Australia, they don't want nobody to know about it. They keep it hush hush. They don't talk about it on the news or anything. So there are no photos of this man. I can't even punch in his name on the computer to find a story based on him or a case that they put on the internet. He's not on here. You want to know why? Because they're gonna make sure they don't get on there. That means they don't want nobody to know anything about missing people that disappear mysteriously, just like with the national parks. They done heard about all that. They got national parks. That's a national park where he was at. So naturally, the National Park Service in Australia don't want nobody to know. That's why you can't find his name on here. Now, it's funny. They disappear in national parks here on the mainland, and you find it on the internet. Why can't they do that over there? What is so important about them disappearing the way they did to where you don't want to do what the mainland people are doing, putting it out there so people can see it and hear about it, but they still ain't gonna figure out what it was, so they ain't worried about it. Here's the problem. Some of us do know what happened, but we can't do anything about it, and that is what makes them so strong when it comes to them keeping this a secret. They know that we can't do nothing about it, and they feed off of that. So they said it don't matter what we tell them. What they gonna do? Bring the boy back? They can't do that. They don't even know how he even disappeared. They don't know where he went. They feed off of all of that crap because they know we're just civilians. We ain't got no power. We ain't got no say so about nothing. We don't know how that stuff works. We don't know where to go to get him. They know all of this, so it makes it easy for them to do what they do. They won't even let their name get on the internet, for crying out loud. Even if the family may want this to happen, they want to find him, so they're going to put all the information up there. But if they are doing that, they are intervening. They are making sure that it gets taken down before it starts to feed out to every single computer on the planet. And thank you, Bill Gates, by the way, for doing that. You know, it makes it possible for this stuff to happen. That means everybody will hear about it, and see the information about this. But these guys are smart. I always heard that when you go to places like that, their laws are different, their ways are different. Okay, when David Paulides was going to other states or other countries, like British Columbia, their ways when it comes to searching for people is way different, and the reactions are different when you start asking about a Freedom of Information Act. Okay, they in that aspect they act just the way they do over here, but it's just the way they do things is different. They don't look for outside help. They use the RCMP to search for the children or anybody else that disappeared in a mysterious way. They do it all the time, but they don't want the assistance of us. So when David Paulides went over there, he was really there for nothing. He found out some stuff, but still, they didn't want his help. I'm like, okay, you don't want our help, fine, but still, what you doing about it? You can't find him. You don't know where he's at. Maybe they do know what happened, and maybe they was there when he disappeared or she disappeared. I don't know. But excuse me for a second. I keep trying to, get to my settings so I can, keep the screen from going black on me, and I be just rambling on about stuff that you need to hear, but still, I gotta focus on this so I can be able to read you the story. I haven't got to that part yet. I'm just telling you what I think. Normally I try to wait to the end, but okay, see, I'm doing it again. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. And auto lock, never, and boom, I am set. All right, guys. Once again, I am talking about a hiker found after overnight ordeal. Search for missing camper in Kerrigini continues. Now, As I said before, this is the Kerry-Genie National Park in Australia. But to start off, they started off with this story at the top, and I think they must have disappeared in there too. But it was talking about two women. It says 2 women lost in a national park overnight with no food or water have been found. Or this is an update. Okay, but the search continues for an elderly man whose vehicle was found abandoned in a remote stretch of the Pilbara or Barra. I don't know what that is, but that's an Australian thing, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that's obviously they disappeared in the same place, maybe, but that's what it is. That's what it says. But anyway, okay, now a 71-year-old man is missing in the Kerry-Genie National Park near the Pilbara town of Wittenum. Okay, now this is where it gets weird because of the name of the person. I was struggling with his name for like 2 days trying to get it right, but I finally did though. Now it says here, police said Richard Wawrziark. Oh, see, I messed up already. I'm sorry. Oh boy, I did get it right, but I kind of lost my way a little bit, but I'll get it right. His name is Wawrziark. Okay, there we go. Wawrziark. Richard Wawrziark. From Morphett Vale in South Australia, has been camping at Dale's Camp and was due to leave 4 days ago to travel to Port Hedland. Now his vehicle was found, and it was found abandoned. Oh, sorry about that. It was found abandoned 50 kilometers from the site in the Mount Bruce car park. Police and state emergency service, state emergency service volunteers. Sorry about that. Got a little tongue tied. Volunteers will scale up a search today. Scale up a search today. Now, meanwhile, again with the 2 women. 2 women spent a cold night in the brush after becoming lost while hiking in the Kalbarri National Park, 570 kilometers north of Perth. Now, the 2 women, one is age 26, the other 40 years old, went hiking to Nature's Window, which is obviously maybe a mountain peak, I guess. And it sounds like that, what it could be. At Nature's Window about 2 p.m. yesterday, but failed to return to the car park as scheduled. Police said the women were inexperienced hikers and did not have any food or water. Okay, now that was smart. But anyway, they were found by searchers this morning. Okay, yeah, that was a very, very short story about that guy because, like I said, even if they give you the information, they're not going to give you all of it because, first of all, they don't know what happened to him, number 1. Number 2, it's a very weird and creepy and mind-numbing case. Those kind of cases make these people quiver. They be like, "Oh, this is way too creepy. I don't want nothing to do with this. Yeah, put that back." No, that's what they be saying. Okay, so when someone comes up and starts asking about it, they freak out and they get mad. They don't want to talk about it, or they just get silent like they don't hear them, and then just like they ignore them. I've heard David Paulides talk about this all the time. They treat you like crap. Just like the Dale Stelling case that I read about probably like maybe a year or 2 ago, or at the beginning of the year. They treated his wife, son like crap. First of all, David Paulides was with them because you saw that they was in the movie. If you saw the movie. Missing 411, the movie. And they said that when David Paulides, he said that he wanted to talk to one of the park rangers. He said, "Yeah, I'll talk to you." But before he got that opportunity, this man come back, drops his head, he said, "I can't talk to you." He said, "What do you mean you can't talk to me? You just said you was." "I can't talk to you." But wait a minute. So did you get this from your boss? And he was just like, yeah. So that is it. Yeah, I know. He didn't even let him finish because he knew what he was going to say. Yeah, I know. And it's like, now, when David Paulides first started doing this, or first started hearing about it, one of the park rangers said, lack of integrity. Now, I don't fully know what that means, but from the sound of it, it ain't good. Because it's like they don't have the heart to try and help people. Why would you worry more about how much goes into that part to keep it looking lush and beautiful? I understand that because we're talking about a national monument. We're talking about trees and forest area that's been probably standing since the caveman days. So it would be ancient. Now, I mean, maybe it didn't go back that far, but it was probably just a bunch of little bushes at that time. And then they grew to that. Nature's splendor. Trees everywhere. Oak trees. Big old fat trees that look like you could fit a whole family in it. Stuff like that. They want to keep it together. I understand that. They're taking care of nature, which is what we all should be doing. But that's a whole nother story, so I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, the whole point is, I understand what they're trying to do. And they want people to come in and enjoy nature. And enjoy looking at the trees. I get it. But when you have someone in your park that disappears without a trace, and there's no evidence to state that he was even in the park. Now, if he had some gear and he was going for a hike, yeah, that would be there. Sometimes that don't even be there. Now, I don't know if the park service comes in, they see his gear and they take it while everybody's looking for it. Or looking for him. They take it, so they make it look like his gear went with him wherever it is he went. Because you don't never see anything until it's televised or in an article on the internet, on the newspaper. What happens behind the camera? We don't know that. So when they're telling you one thing, they're doing something else. They're covering it up so that when you get the information about what happened, it's been tampered with. Okay? It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, I have said before that I actually got a comment from first his wife's sister first. She confirmed that was her brother-in-law, brother-in-law. Then the man's wife hit me up a couple of days later saying that she wants. Okay, hold on. No, the first person to actually contact me on my channel was his grandson, his son's son, and said, "That's my grandpa." And I said, "Oh, I would love to, get a chance to interview you, kind of get a good idea of what happened." And he said, "I'm 15." I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, never mind." I didn't, because all I saw was words, so that wasn't telling me that was a 15-year-old. So obviously, I was going to ask to see if they want to be interviewed so I can get some better information, other than what I'm seeing on the internet or on TV or even in a movie about what happened to him. But he was young, and I didn't want to do that to him. And he said he had to get permission anyway, but I didn't want him to go through that. So, like I said, I got his wife hit me up saying that I want to find out the truth, no matter how strange it was. I was like, now there you go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Because any other person that had an experience like that, where one of their family members just disappeared without a trace in the national parks, all they say, the other people, they say, "I know my son was kidnapped. I know my husband was murdered by a serial killer in the national parks." They don't never say, "I know that my son was sucked into a wormhole and got sent to a parallel earth." They're not going to say that. Regardless of what their belief system is, they could be religious. So they would never say that. They would never even think about it. It would never be a thought in their mind. Even if they weren't religious. If they have a belief system that doesn't that doesn't, what am I trying to say? I keep losing the words in my head. that if it doesn't consist of that, particular part of the story, naturally they're not going to believe it. If their belief system is just a logical belief system, they're not going to believe it. You could tell them everything from here to the sun. You could even tell them something like the earth ain't actually round, it's flat, like how they always been saying. Their belief system is either going to say that it is or that it isn't, because that was a big problem back in the day. They literally fought over this stuff, saying, no, the earth is flat, no, the earth is round, and then when it was confirmed, naturally, belief system solved. But that's my whole point. They're never going to say that. They're going to believe that part before they believe the other part. Okay? So, like I said before, they feed off of this stuff. No matter what they believe, if you tell them something, they're going to believe it because it's coming from you. If they heard it from your neighbor down the street, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to have to get some clarification on that. You got any newspapers that state this? Any books? That's what they're going to say. But if they hear it from them, they're going to believe it right off the bat because they're the experts. They work in the park. They know the areas like the back of their hand. So if they tell you, well, we didn't find the body, but we found this, we found that. And from our preliminary outlook on the situation says that he such and such, like maybe he fell off a cliff, or he fell into a foxhole, or he went into a cave and got lost, so we can't find him. Maybe he fell in a crevice that was filled with water and he drowned. They could tell you anything, just as long as you don't start asking about the right questions. Asking about the right information. Okay, now if you already know about wormholes and all this other stuff that happens in the national parks, like they see these weird, like distorted areas of the splinter that you're looking at, like a big old wall of like distortion or whatever. Like, say, I already know that when people go in the national parks, or they're in the forest, that everything just kind of just gets still, where you don't hear wind or birds or crickets, nothing. If they realize that you know about this stuff, that's going to kind of make them get a little cringy, right? So that's the reason why they try to make sure that if they give you any information, it's going to be nothing dealing with what you are already thinking about. If you don't count people like myself. Now, let's just say, hypothetically, one of my family members loved to hike, loved to camp, loved to do all this stuff. They was a Renaissance man when it came to nature. So they went out there for a hike. But somewhere between point A and point B, wherever they were going, they disappeared. Now, if I already know about all this stuff and I go to the park asking questions, they probably still going to tell me everything from here to sun about whatever. That ain't got nothing to do with what I want to know. If you say you want to know the truth, no matter how creepy it is, they still act like you speaking Spanish or something. And I'm like, really? Did you just insult my intelligence? Like, I would never figure that out? Seriously? But they scare you before you can start trying to say what needs to be said. Okay? They belittle you. They act like you don't matter. Like with the Dale Stelling case, they tried to talk to the park superintendent. He never came out of his office. And after that was it. If you couldn't talk to him, let alone the park ranger, who else can you talk to? They don't want to talk about it. You want to know why? Because it's creepy. It creeps them out. And see, one thing I've said before is that if I went in a park like that, and let's say one of my family members disappeared, and you're going to act like that with me, you might want to get away from me, because I am about to knock your head off if I don't get some answers. I don't care how creepy, I don't care how disgusting, how ominous it is. If you tell me that you saw a red hand with claws on it grab my son's feet and pull him into nothing, and I was already thinking that could happen because I have an open mind, I'm going to believe it. But you still act like you don't know what you're talking about. Like you're not the expert. You're not a coroner or whatever. You you don't work in the park, so how would you know about all that stuff? They're gonna act like you stupid. And every single person who has ever gone into one of these parks, like Yosemite and Keith, darn it, I had a brain for it. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. That was Keith, not Keith Parkins. It wasn't Keith Parkins. Who was that? Darn it. Sheesh. Anyway, the whole point is that family, the one about the little boy who someone thought was being carried on the shoulder of this hairy-looking creature that was walking around behind the trees. Okay, that family was treated like shit. They lied to them from day one, and the man died in 2015. An unhappy man because his son was not with him. Okay? He goes there. He wanted to be involved in everything. He said, no matter what it is, I want to know. So he said, okay, we'll make sure that you get all the information that you need, no matter what it is. Okay? Very first time something came up, some type of evidence, they lied on the spot. When they found out about I think it was the time frame or how long it would take for a person to get from point A to point B, the FBI agent said, oh, don't worry about that. The numbers don't match. And then it was, I believe, Grizz Adams that was working with this man. And he told him, he's lying. We can do that, no problem. And they walked it, and they did it in the time frame that was said. Another thing that happened was when I think they had gotten some evidence about what they found. And he found out about it. He was like, why wasn't I told about this? And he said he literally got pissed because they were keeping stuff from him. They were keeping stuff from him. And why would you do that? Your son disappeared in your park while they were playing hide and seek. Okay? And you're going to sit there and act like nothing happened? You're going to start talking to me like I don't have a brain, like I don't have any kind of intelligence, like I didn't go to college? Somebody would get hurt. I said that I would probably, and this is just me talking, I would never do something like that. I mean, I have a daughter, but that is not who I am. I'm not like that. But I would hold hostage everybody in that doggone satellite office that they have. And I would make sure if I had a gun, I would say everybody who is not a park ranger or works for the park need to leave now. Everybody start running out except for people that's in the uniform, obviously. And I lock the door. I lock all the windows. And whoever tries to get out will probably get shot in the foot. I wouldn't kill you, but you get shot somewhere. Or I would shoot off a warning shot, making you think you're going to get shot. So that it'll scare you. You stop acting stupid. You do what I say. Nobody would leave that satellite until I got some answers. I didn't care. I would have said, I don't care how creepy it is. If he got sucked into a portal or aliens took my son, I want to know. Heck, even if Bigfoot picked him up and took him somewhere to raise him as his own, I want to know about that too. But they do not do that, no matter what. Now, had I done that, I don't know what the outcome would be, but it might not be good for me. I might end up going to jail. Who knows? But if they find out why, maybe I'll get off on good behavior. I don't know. But the whole point is, the park service don't want nobody to know about this stuff because they want to keep that money coming in. They want to keep the tourists coming in. So they're going to lie every single time. I'm like, wow. That really, really made me upset. Because I'm like, you don't care nothing about the families. So you're going to just say, you don't even pick up the phone. You don't answer nobody. You just brush it aside, throw the paperwork in a cabinet somewhere where it'll probably be sitting there for the next 50, 60 years. And David Paulides has talked about that, like the Stacey Harris case. When he tried to get the information, they said that nobody looked at it in over 30 years. So what are you doing with it? I don't know, but you don't need to know about it. He was nasty to that man. All he wanted to do was find out about her because she was in his backyard. They lived in the same state or in the same town in California. Okay? Let's go back. The girl is going to a place called Sunrise Camps. Okay? She's on horseback with a bunch of people and her father. They stop the rest at the campsite. They go inside to freshen up, change their clothes. Her father was doing something. She comes out with her camera. She said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go down to the lake and I'm going to start taking some pictures." Okay. Put on some shoes, though, because she was barefooted. Because, you don't want to step on no pebbles or anything with all that dirt. And she may stub her foot on a boulder because they had a boulder field out there. And that's where she was going. The lake was surrounded by a bunch of trees and that boulder field. And let me tell you, when I looked at a picture of that, I was like, man, those suckers were huge. And they were just piled up in one big spot. It kind of looked like the rock quarry on the Flintstones, with all them stones and boulders all piled up on each other to make it look like the way it looked. That's what it looked like. Anyway, yeah, can't help it. I'm a Flintstone fan. Love the cartoon. But anyway, so there's a little pathway along that thing, the boulder field. She's walking down it. But before she's doing that, there's this old 71-year-old man that was going to accompany her. So he did. But, he was I think he was like 72 or 82. But anyway. And of course, he was an older man. He was elderly, so he got tired. So he said, "You know what? I'm gonna recline on that offer, and I'm gonna, sit right here and rest." So he's sitting on this boulder. He watched the girl goes down into that little ravine between that boulder field, and he saw her walking down to the lake taking pictures, and she disappeared within a line of trees opposite the lake. She was never seen again. Okay? So when all that happened, and of course David Paulides came through, he said, "I would like, to get the information on the case, because it's in my backyard. I'm studying missing person cases, and and I just want to know." And he was like, "So why do you want to know again?" He was like, "I just told you." "Well, we haven't looked at that case in years. So what are you doing with it?" "I don't know, but you're never gonna see it." "Well, is it the missing person case?" "Nope." Is there any evidence to state that it was someone that kidnapped her?" "Nope." Did anyone pick up this case in the last 21 years? "Nope." "So why aren't you looking at it?" "It doesn't matter to you. You're never going to see it." "But I've gotten hundreds of cases from your park." "No, you didn't." "Yes, I did." And they get into this talk. He challenges him. He was just really nasty, right? So he decided to flip it. And he told him something. He was like, "Okay. What?" It was like, "I'm just saying. I mean, why can't I have the case?" "It doesn't really matter because you're never going to see the case." And he has never gotten that file. I mean, everybody who accompanied her in that campsite are dead. The old man, of course, is dead. Everybody in her family is dead. This is like a case that happened way back when. This is like maybe 1975. I mean, most of the family members are dead anyway. And the ones that are still living probably don't really know too much about it because they probably weren't around when it happened. So it's probably just a story that some of the families talk about that really don't want to talk about because it was a family member and then they haven't seen her. She was never seen again. So that kind of stuff just gets on my nerves. But you heard my talks. I've talked about it all the time. What I think is doing it. You got portals. Now there's the dark ones, which is a very, very, very good way to put it. Okay, you got your weird creatures that they may think have something to do with it. I don't personally think so, but the main thing would be the portals and the dark ones. And maybe some werewolves, compared to what happened to Henry McCabe because of that growl that you heard. What other creature could have done that? I would think it would have been a werewolf, I would imagine, because that was probably the only creature I ever heard of, other than the Bigfoot that can growl, and you got your werewolf. That's the only thing I know that could growl like that and sound that huge. It wasn't a dog. You know what a dog sounds like when it growls, right? I'm pretty sure most of you got dogs. I know a couple of people that got dogs, and I heard them growl all the time. He ain't growl like that. That's a typical I'm a huge monster like growl. I'm talking like it was a guttural growl. I can't even imitate that because it was just creepy. It's fascinating, but it was creepy. So with that, like I said, what could it have been? Now, when she first disappeared and he found out about all that other stuff and how she disappeared, the only thing that was found was her lens cap. Now, I talked about that before. How is it that you end up disappearing and so does your camera? It's the camera, but the lens cap is left behind. That makes no sense, because if the lens cap goes with the camera, I would imagine she wasn't using it. She would have put it back up there. Or if it happened in the middle of her taking a picture, she was taken, and maybe it fell out of her hand and landed on the floor. But I started to think, and I got most of this from David Paulides because he already talked about that part. But it's still, no matter how you look at it, seems strange to me how the camera's not there, but the lens cap is. She's not there, the camera's not there, but the lens cap is. That sounds fishy to me. Because maybe, just maybe, and I already mentioned this in one of my last videos, she saw something. Think about it. She's got a camera. She's taking pictures all over the place. Maybe she didn't even know that she took a picture of it and they saw it in the film. Maybe she got a picture of a portal opening right before her very eyes. Maybe she saw some type of interdimensional being that was walking in the area. Anything relate or remotely close to what they don't want you to know. She took a picture of it. They saw it. You never saw the camera again. Maybe the camera got left behind. Did you ever think of that? Think about it. She's gone. The camera's gone, but the lens cap isn't. So it's a possibility. Like I said, she may have been holding it, and the lens cap fell out before the door to the wormhole closed. Or maybe, I would think this, when she got sucked into that portal, the jolt from that made her drop the camera along with the lens cap. So I would think that it would be there after she was gone, right? So what happens? It's still there. Whatever does that to the cameras, because every time somebody disappears, their cell phone disappears and the camera they had disappears. So I'm thinking that the park rangers do that all the time. So it must happen a lot. Their belongings get left behind because the joke from them being sucked into a wormhole makes them drop the camera. That's like, you get hit and you just everything just opens up. It just goes limp. That's what happens. So why didn't that happen with the camera? Think about it. That makes me think. That means it got left behind. Yes, so she did drop it. Then the Park Service saw it. They looked at the film. They probably developed it or whatever. And they said, oh yeah, this camera cannot be seen ever again. And the parents are maybe looking for it because they know that it was hers, so they want to keep it, obviously. So all of a sudden, now the camera's missing. The family want to know what happened to it. They said they don't know. It wasn't there when we searched for it. We never found it, but they did find it. She took a picture of something that she wasn't supposed to take a picture of, or she didn't know she did. They probably found out when they saw the camera. They probably didn't even know that she was even taking pictures. Obviously, they weren't there. But if they saw that, obviously it was something they didn't want nobody to know about. So naturally, they would have to get rid of the camera. They probably didn't get rid of it. They got it sitting in their office in a vault somewhere, maybe. I don't know. But still, something was on that film that nobody needs to know about as far as the Park Service is concerned. That's my take on it. Because she did go through a wormhole. That much I do know, because the evidence states that. There's no other evidence out there to say that she was even in the park. No footprints, no nothing. Even if there was, it probably looked like she got sucked into something. Some things open up all over the place. I told you before, one opened up in my freaking bedroom and in the hallway near the guest bathroom. It didn't open up all the way where, but I just saw a little white. And it wasn't no orb. It wasn't no ghost trying to manifest itself. It was a portal. How do I know that? I could tell you, but then you wouldn't believe me anyway. So we'll leave it at that for right now. But like I said, that's what happened to her. But what happened to the camera? She took a picture of something that she probably didn't know she took a picture of. They saw it, they confiscated it, and it was never seen again. Parents don't think or don't know that the camera exists because, well, they know they exist, but they don't know what happened to it. They probably asked them about it. Did you find the camera? That was my daughter's favorite camera. So no, we didn't find it. Yes, you did, motherfucker. You put it in your office because you didn't want nobody to know about that darn film. That's what happened. Okay. And now, if you go to that person and try to find out, they'd be like, see, what had happened was, you know what? They had called me. Because from the other time, and when the car had skid, and then, because it rained. But yeah, I didn't see the camera. It wasn't there. You know, they start talking all that gibberish talk. Yeah, I got that from the Fresh Prince because that was, that's how he do when he start getting stupid. He start talking all gibberish like. But anyway, like I said, that's what happened. She took a picture of something and they confiscated that camera. That's what happened. That's a little Kanye, but can't help it. I'm feeling a little silly right now. But yeah, so seriously though, on a serious tip, that's what happened to her because that right there makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. I would think so. Nobody's talking about it, and I think David Paulides picked up on that maybe a couple of episodes later when he talked about it again, because that's like one of his number one cases that he tried to look for and couldn't get, obviously. And I think he did mention that one time, or one of his constituents did that when they were sitting around a table, drumming up ideas of what could have happened. And I think one of them did say that maybe the camera didn't go with her. Maybe it was there and somebody found it, namely the Park Service, and they acted like they never found it because they found something and it was on that darn camera. It was in that film. Like I said, she either took a picture of it because she saw it, or she was taking pictures of the trees and the lake and all that stuff and didn't even realize that she took the picture because she probably couldn't see it with the naked eye. It was probably cloaking itself, but the camera somehow picked it up and they saw that and they got scared. They said, okay, if they see this, that's the end of this park. They would never come back. They don't want that to happen. Oh, no. They get paid big time. They work for the federal government, man. I should know. I work for them too. And we get paid. And they know that. They don't want to lose all that money. See, that's the problem with this planet. It's infested with greed, love for money, power, control. They love that crap. It's like honey. It's like bees to honey. They attracted to it. They can't stay away from it. They get stuck, and it eats them up in the inside. Not in a bad way on their case, but they don't want to lose that. Okay, and all I'm saying is, don't give up. You can always go somewhere else to find out the truth. It may be a theory, but it's a very good one. Because when you look at what happens to these people, the evidence is right there in front of your face. She's gone. There's no evidence of her even being in the park. And we already know she was here. People said they saw her walking in here. But she's not there. There's no evidence to state that she was even there. Nothing. So what comes to mind when you see that, or you notice the fact that that's what happened, or that's what it looks like happened? You start saying some weird shit that you thought you'd never say before. Not saying that you didn't believe in it, you heard about it, but that don't mean that you would believe it enough to say it or talk about it to people that you know. You just heard someone mention it on TV who was being interviewed about something. Who knows? But all I'm saying is that information is crucial. Okay? It's crucial. Anyway, guys, I'm blabbing about a lot of stuff. So, I'm going to end this the way I usually do. You already know. But to those who are listening to me, all of you out there in YouTube land, I'm going to do another live broadcast. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to want to talk about cases and stuff. And we can do that. I want to do that. Okay? That's what I do. That's who I am. I'm Mr. Insane Disappearances. I ain't talking about just me going like this. I'm talking about people who actually disappear mysteriously. That's what it's all about. Anyway, the whole point is I'm going to start talking about the true history of this earth. Brought to you by none other than my friend, Gabriel. Okay? He is going to channel through me by way of his mate. And he is going to help me explain to you the true history of this earth. I'm talking like if you want to ask questions about the Anunnaki or the Egyptian kings and queens. Anything dealing with the history that we were, I won't say forced, but like brainwashed to know about, you can ask him. And he will tell you a completely different story. Just to make clear, we're talking about true history, not an added portion of what you already know or a fabrication. I'm talking about the true history. That means if it's the true history, you ain't never heard of it. Okay? Never. So you're going to hear stuff that is probably going to blow your mind because to you, that never happened. Or it's impossible for it to happen. I know what happened. So you're going to go into this big discussion about, no, this is what happened. No, this is what happened. It's going to happen. I'm going to, I expect that to happen. Okay? But the truth has to come out. Okay? That's what he wants. That's what I want. That's why I'm here. That's why I started this. Because of the truth. No matter how weird it may seem. So if you hear something that's so out of the ordinary, there's no logical way that can even happen. That's the truth. When it makes you think like that, it's the truth. People don't see it that way because they're wired to think otherwise. But if you hear something that is so out of the ordinary, so not something that I learned in school or in a book or on the TV or whatever, it's the truth. The only time you will know about the truth is if it's something that you couldn't even fathom could even happen. That's the truth. So, are you ready? Like I said before, this is a pretty long video. It's like 52 minutes. Okay, it's probably gonna be even more than that by the time I hit the stop button. But all I'm saying is, I'm gonna give you guys time to watch the video, about an hour. Okay. And after that, I'm gonna go live, and we're gonna talk about some good stuff, man. We're gonna talk about what I said before about if you want to talk about the cases, or if Christy, if you want to get in on this, feel free. I want to see how you doing and all that stuff. So come here, get on the channel, talk to me, let me know what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. If you want to talk about that, that's cool. That's what my channel is about. So I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to add that to it. I want to talk about the cases. I want to give you an answer that you can accept. But here is the main part of that answer. Are you ready to accept it? Are you? Because it's going to sound strange when I tell you what it is. You're going to be like, I don't believe it. That's because you've never heard it before. You've been brainwashed to think otherwise. They want you to not know about this stuff because it will mess things up for them. That's another reason to control, another way to control people. We don't want that. We don't need that. So the thing to do is to get the truth out there. And I started from the very beginning doing that. Okay? And that's why you guys are here 1,458 subscribers later. And I love you guys for that, man. Y'all are the best. I love you. That's why I'm doing this, because I love you. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, my New York accent is coming out. I get like that when I'm hyped up and excited. So, but yeah. Anyway, like I said, I love you guys, man. You guys are the best, and I want to make sure I give you the best information you could ever get. Now, it's going to be out there. It's going to be like I say, that new emoji they got on your phone for iPhone or whoever else, and they got that big old puff of smoke coming out the top of his head, and then you see the little shards of skull shooting out in all directions. That's what I want to do to you. I want to blow your mind. So I gotta step it up a little bit. I gotta elevate it myself. I can't just talk about missing people who disappear mysteriously, and then I give you a good reason why that happened. That's the part that's really gonna blow your mind, because you be like, I never thought about it like that. I know, because I thought about it like that. I'm just playing, but I'm just saying that I'm here to give you the truth. And sometimes the truth can be so unbelievable, you're just not gonna believe it. You're just like, that's impossible. Why would that even happen? See, that's the thing. That's what they don't want you to realize. Okay, they don't want you to know that that is the most simple thing on the planet. It is just that simple for it to happen. I'm just saying, when I give you the truth, you're either gonna believe it or you're not. So which is it gonna be? You want to know about the real truth, no matter how crazy it may sound to you? Come here to Insane Disappearances. Knock on my door, I'll open up and let you in so we can get started on the discussion. It'll be like sitting down talking to Mr. Rogers, but Mr. Rogers about, anyway, sorry about that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just really hyped up tonight. So, because I love you guys. I love doing this show. I love doing the episodes about these crazy, disappearances. So, I get a little hyped up. So when you see me very lively, that's because I love doing this. I love doing this for you. This is what I do. This is what makes me happy. Helping you open your mind to the truth. Oh, I like that. That sounds like a quote. Open your mind to the truth. But of course, adding more to it, but I got to think about that. That sounds like a really good. I do that a lot now. That my mind, because my mind is open. People. One of my high school friends told me that my third eye is showing. I'm like, well, it's always been there, but I knew there was a time to talk about certain things, and it wasn't the time. Now it's the time, people. That's what I'm here for. Okay, I am never gonna lie to you about anything. The whole problem is you just may not believe it. No, because it's a very, to you, an unbelievable story. I'll put it like that. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling on again. Sorry about that, but I told you I get excited sometimes. I just can't stop when I get so into what I'm talking about. I'm doing it again. So I'm gonna end this video right now so I can get started on the, let you guys do what you gotta do so we can do the live thing. And you better come, because I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be so invigorating. It's gonna make your brain just like, you're gonna not blow up, but it's gonna swell up. But anyway, you know how I do it, guys, at the end of every show. Aloha, mahalo, and ahui ho. Peace out, brothers. Wahine. Shoots.